Hey guys, Lacey here. This is going to be a sit and chat video. I was asked a question in the store the other day and it just made me think, and I just wanted to kind of encourage other people in where our food really comes from. Okay, story time. I was in the store with all of my kids. I have 7 kids. In the store with all of them, and this guy comes up to me and he says, these are yours? I'm used to this question by now. So I politely, replied, yeah, they are all mine. And then he goes, well, aren't you scared? I didn't know what we were supposed to be scared about. I was kind of oblivious to what this question even meant. So I just kind of said, what are you talking about? Scared of what? And he kind of just said, like, how are you going to feed your family? Oh, okay. I was just caught off guard. You know what I mean? Like, I was just kind of like, what? Number one, not scared of how I'm going to feed my family because I initially know where the bulk of our food comes from. Kind of baffles me that we're supposed to be scared of how to feed our families. So I've been thinking of all the skills that if nobody knows how to feed their family, I've been thinking of all the skills that they probably need to know to feed their families. So here we go. So number one, I would suggest learning how to cook from scratch. This brings joy to my family's heart. My oldest daughter, she loves cooking. I'm talking about like bread. You can cook bread with 4 ingredients: flour, salt, water, and yeast. And if you have a sourdough starter like we do, you don't necessarily need the yeast. 3 ingredients. Learning how to cook tortillas, oil and flour. My family loves this type of cooking. Knowing how to cook rice and beans, if you needed to. That kind of old school cooking, learning how to make pancakes from your sourdough, can bring joy into your home when there's not much in the store. Number 2 would be going to the store, getting some organic, let's say tomatoes. We're gonna do tomatoes. Getting some organic tomatoes and learning how to preserve those. Tomatoes are very versatile. That's why I think I picked tomatoes. You can water bath, can those, dice those up, or even leave them whole, and you can can those. Are you okay? Okay. Or you can dehydrate those and grind them in your food processor, and make a powder out of that. And when your recipe calls for tomato paste, you take about a couple tablespoons of that and put a couple tablespoons of water into that and mix it up, and there's your paste. Tomatoes are just very versatile. But there's 4 ways that I have gained some experience, which is water bath canning, pressure cooker canning. That is so hard to say. Pressure cooker canning. Freezing and dehydrating, and there's that new one where it's like, I don't even think it's really that new, but freeze drying. I haven't messed with that at all, so I can't even tell you if that's one to go with, but I've done the first 4 and I've had no problems with that. Cooking from scratch, preserving your food, those are just skills in the kitchen that would be useful to know. Number 3 is one of my favorites because I get to go outside and I get to get my hands dirty. It's gardening. It brings joy to my heart personally, and I think everybody should know how to do this in order to know how to provide food for themselves. Go buy a tomato plant and learn how to grow tomatoes. Tomatoes are very easy. Once again, I'm using tomatoes. I don't know why. No, I do know why, because they're very easy. They're very resilient. But learning how to grow a plant and learning how to nurture a plant has a learning curve. You got to make sure you water it. Don't water it too much, but learning the right measurements of water. Learning the amount of sun each plant needs, like tomatoes. Once again, tomatoes, they love sun. Carrots, not so much. So you can actually plant your carrots in the shade of your tomatoes, if that makes sense. Learning what kind of nutrients it needs. Beans, they put a lot of nutrients into the soil. Tomatoes, they soak up all that nitrogen in the soil. So learning the science behind gardening is even better to know. Your garden does not have to be humongous. It can be a pot on your back porch. It can be a raised bed in your small backyard. It can be a pot on your windowsill. All of these are gonna let you gain that experience that you need to learn how to garden. There is nothing wrong in buying plants from a store and growing a garden that way. Nothing wrong. I just bought 29 plants of strawberries, strawberries and pine berries, 29 plants altogether from the store because my children just love strawberries, and I thought, you know, I think it's time to start a strawberry bed. So that's what I did. There's nothing wrong with that. But I have also seen and heard of people buying those seed packets that last for 20 years or so because they're packaged in this special packaging that will make them last forever. I think that's a wonderful and great idea. However, I say, if you don't know how to seed plant anything or those specific varieties of plants, it's going to do you no good. You're going to waste money and you're going to waste time. Time planting those seeds and not having a successful rate, and then you're going to be out of plants, like you're going to be out of seeds eventually because you didn't have the experience of. Number 4, seed starting. I think it's important to learn how to grow a plant from a seed. Maybe not now is the time for you, if you're a new gardener, to learn how to seed grow a plant. Eventually, maybe you should. Once again, the sciences of gardening, knowing how deep that seed needs to be, how big the plant's actually going to get to know how much space you need to provide for that plant to grow. Also, something good to know is that you can direct sow some seeds into the ground and they will pop up just no problem, like green beans, okra, squash, watermelon. And then there's plants that you kind of want to seed start in your house before you plant them outside, like tomatoes and peppers. There is a lot of aspects to seed starting that you kind of need to know, kind of get familiar with to get some experience. I would say in the last couple of months, we have started to compost. Compost is number 5. Maybe gain some knowledge in, because if you cannot provide nutrients for your plants to grow, to give you the produce that you're wanting to get from them, then you're not going to be successful. And not having to go to the store to buy fertilizer or potting mix or to start your seeds or to amend your plants, then that might be vital too. Composting is as simple as getting the right medium of greens to brown. Your newspapers, your grass clippings, your leaves, your paper towel rolls that you use if you use paper towels, your anything that comes from the garden can go into your compost bucket. And it doesn't have to be this humongous drum or this big old pile in your backyard. It can be as small as a 5-gallon bucket, and you just turn it a little bit. Just learning the science of that would be pretty useful whenever you need some nutrients for your plants that may not be as healthy looking as they need to be. So this last nugget of information I want to share with you is maybe something that all of you cannot do right now. 90% of our meat comes from deer. My husband hunts and we get our meat from deer. And then we raise pigs also to provide us with a good amount of protein. But if you're not able to hunt, number 6, livestock. Don't call me crazy just yet. Learning good husbandry with livestock is vital to keeping a healthy animal on your farm or in your backyard, anywhere, even a cat or dog. You want all your animals that you own to be healthy. 2 animals that you can keep in a backyard. Chickens are probably the easiest animals, I will say, to take care of. Food, water, shelter, maybe some bedding, which can be sand. Pretty easy. And you don't need a rooster to have eggs. I will say it again. You do not need a rooster. Those loud, obnoxious roosters that wake you up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you don't need one of those to have eggs. But you can have that in your backyard, and you don't need a huge flock of chickens like we do. We have like 40 chickens right now, which is way too many for a family of 9. But we have them because we have them. I would say like a family of 4 or 5 could have 3 to 5 chickens. That would be plenty of hens to get you enough eggs to supply for your family. The second animal that I want to cover is rabbits. Now, we are fairly new to rabbits. I wouldn't say beginner, because we've had rabbits for about 6 months or so. We didn't jump into the breeding of our rabbits because we wanted to learn the behaviors of rabbits. We wanted to learn and practice that good husbandry. Rabbits can actually have 3 to 10 litters a year, just depending on how intensive you want to breed them. We're about 6 days away from hopefully having our first litter of rabbits this year. You need a cage, you need some food, you need some hay, and that's about it. You would probably need, we have one female, one doe, and you need separate cages for them unless you want to colony raise them, which is a whole other subject. We chose the cage route. I will not be an advocate for rabbits as of right now in this video. This is just an avenue that we wanted to learn and see if it fits our family. With rabbits, I will say though, you have to learn how to butcher. That is one of the things why I say that chickens are probably the easiest to take care of, is because you can get protein for them with just an egg. Rabbits, on the other hand, you would have to learn how to butcher those cute rabbits, which may be a problem in our family. We just don't know yet. I'm not a master in any of these skills. I will admit that. I have many errors in all the trials that I do. And let me tell you, I have a lot of projects going on. So I have a lot of errors, but each and single error, I am learning something new, because each new year brings different kinds of weather. My soil gets better with each year. So I'm learning new things each time. Oh, look at that. Is that yummy?
Yeah.
So say you can't do a humongous garden. Say you can't even raise any livestock. That's okay. Make the connections in your local area. Talk to farmers who sell beef, who sell pork, who have chickens for eggs, who maybe has rabbits and could possibly supply you with meat for your family. Buy locally whenever you go shopping for your produce. And even if you're willing to say, hey, I would love to provide my family with rabbits. I don't have the space. Can I buy a few more cages for you to help me provide for my family? I'm just saying from my experience, majority of the time, these farmers would most likely help you. So start making those connections, start making those relationships, and be a good customer. Be a great client. So after a time of thinking about this question that this guy asked me, how am I going to provide food for my family? That was the answer that I had in my mind. I'm learning all these skills to help me have that peace of mind, to help me not be scared, to help me not live in a fearful state, because I think that's ridiculous that people use those tactics. But that helps me. And ultimately, I know that God is going to take care of us. He has for a long time, and he will, and I have faith and I trust him. And he's also given us all the knowledge that we need to survive in this broken world. So that's where my peace comes from. That's my mind and my thought process behind this whole question. So I'm hoping that this video was encouraging to answer that question for you guys, for yourself, and to start thinking of what skills are you going to maybe start learning. And even if nothing ever comes from any of these skills and you never have to use them, you're going to have the satisfaction of growing your family's food. I know that just brings joy to my heart. I could talk about this subject on and on, maybe for days, but I won't. I need to get off of here and start getting some things done. So with that, I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.